All right. Hey everyone, this is Arohanui from Dream Dedicate Do. Today I'm actually doing an interview with a guy named Nixon. Carter has been going through his own weight loss journey, and basically he's looking at just basically coming on here and just sharing a bit of information, a bit of advice and stuff like that on how he actually lost weight. And the reason I'm doing this is because when I lost weight, I was inspired of others that had walked through the same weight loss journey as I had, and also come out on top. So basically, this is just to help inspire others that are out there going through the same sort of journey as I am. So yeah, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Carter. Carter, thanks a lot for having a chat.
Hey, that photo still always makes me laugh. I mean, it's a particularly unflattering photo as well, so it makes me feel real good when I see it now, you know.
Yeah, I mean, who took that photo, mate? That photo wasn't taken as far as your before or after. That was just this photo taken by.
That was just, I think my cousin's stag do. Hence the. I don't think the red eyes are purely just from the camera. I think we were all feeling.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't taken intentionally to be like, you know, I didn't actually do a before photo because when I first started dieting, I actually didn't think I'd stick with it, so I didn't actually bother. But yeah, that was just. So that is actually at my heaviest that I'd ever been. That must have been heaviest I ever got was about, I think at one point I was close to 118 kgs.
Wow. And how tall are you?
God, I'm only about 5. Oh God, you've seen me. Am I being generous? 5'8", I guess.
Right. Yeah.
5'7", 5'8". You know, I'm not. So you know, I'm not a very tall guy, and to have that kind of weight at my height was not good. You know, it was horrible.
Wow.
So that's a few years before I actually really got stuck in to decide to lose weight. That is a few years before it. So that would be at my absolute heaviest.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
But when I hit this diet, when I did to get to where I am now, I started at 108 kgs. I weighed myself the day before I started, and I was 108 kgs.
Wow, and at your lightest, what were you? I mean, how much weight did you lose?
At my lightest, I got to about 84. I got to 84 kgs.
Well, that's not bad at all.
Within the year, I was at 84. By the end of the year. Well, it's not even in a year. It was April I started, March I started, and by Christmas I was about 84 kgs.
Jesus. Man, that's awesome. What were you just on a mission just to lose the weight?
Absolute mission. And I mean, I was eating. I wasn't like starving or anything. I just decided that I was going to, you know, start this diet and stick to it. And I was absolutely never wavered. Never had a cheat day. I stuck to it.
Wow, that's. You never had a cheat meal or a cheat day and stuff like that?
No, not then. I mean, I do now.
Yeah.
I have too many actually, but I'm about 87 now. But that was 3 years ago. I started the diet, and then because of the diet I did Atkins, and because of that, they say you can put it on real quick, really fast.
After you come off it.
After you come off it. So I kind of weaned myself off it. I didn't just go, right, okay, I've lost the weight, and then start eating whatever I want. But, you know, I've kind of just been maintaining it. And I've been hovering around 86, 87 now for, like, nearly 2 years.
Mate, that's incredible. That's fantastic. Yeah. And is that where you want to be? This is
as far as I'm at now. I'm happy. I'm happy to stay this size.
And how did you maintain this for over 2 years?
Well, at first I just did Atkins from like Monday to Saturday. I'd stay on Atkins, and Sunday was my cheat day. But it did start getting. It just started getting harder and harder. At first, it was really easy, and that's only because I saw the results so quickly. Like,
yeah, right.
it really did kick in. And I did my research. I read about it, and I got so much. I mean, I had books around me, photocopied papers, printed out charts. I really studied it and I thought, well, and it said, look, some people it works it really kicks in. Atkins will work really, and then other people it's slower.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
some people who start it can be fast, and some people who start it can be slow. And lucky for me, it was just like instant. I just started losing weight.
Wow.
But so once I started getting a bit tired of Atkins, so what I've been doing the past few years, I've been doing more of it's a 5 and 2, like 2 days, very low calories, and then the rest of the week you can have, kind of whatever you want, really. But as long as the 2 days I stick to 600 calories a day.
Right. So the 600 calories a day is the sort of fasting
days.
Yeah. And how have you found that?
It can be actually harder than it sounds because I'm already thinking about tomorrow is my diet day, and it's one of my days will be tomorrow. I always make it Monday, and like some days you just dread it. I'm thinking, oh god, I gotta go through it. But other days I can just, as long as I'm busy, I can get through it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
And that's not about weight loss now. It's mainly about maintaining.
Yeah, that's right. And on a 600 calorie day, what's the normal sort of food regime for you? Like, is it like a cracker? What do you eat when you get 600 calories?
You can have. I have miso soup. I like miso soup a lot. So you can have a lot of miso soup. Like a cup of miso soup's about 30 calories. So you can have. I have I just chop up some fruit, banana and apple. Like for breakfast, I might have some Wheat Bix with skim milk.
Right.
And I mean, it's not much. You really have to be, you're kind of watching. It's like, for dinner, maybe half a tin of baked beans. It is a fasting day. Like, you really can't eat much.
Yeah, it's right too.
And I like coffee. I like coffee, so I use, nearly a third of my calories in just having my coffee in the morning, like getting a latte in the morning. So
wow.
Yeah, they can be tough days, but what? For me, it's like seeing it working. Like yeah. I know if I didn't have these 2 days, I would be quite big again now because, I mean, on my own West Indian, I don't have the best eating habits. I like a lot of bad stuff. I just like bad food.
Yeah.
I really do, and I don't eat it every day, but I eat enough of it that I don't think if I didn't have these cheat days, if I didn't have not the cheat days, if I didn't have the 2 diet days a week, I think I'd be, I'd probably be big again. I'd be quite big.
That's incredible. So the 5 and 2 for you has been great for maintaining.
Yeah, it's just about maintenance, and of course, and then as you know, because that's where we've met, is and the gym every day.
Yeah,
I don't miss.
I see Carter down there.
Every day I go down and I do my gym, and that was a huge part as well at the start of losing the bulk when I started. Because at my big, like I was saying earlier, at my biggest I was about 100 and I think it was about 118, and I didn't go on a diet, but that's when I first joined the gym. And after about 2 to 3 years of gym, I got myself down to a nice lean 108 kgs. And so I wasn't at my biggest. And then what got me started on the weight loss was I am in a band, and one of the this is so silly, but the drummer in my band, he has a bit of he's normally average sized dude, but he can have weight fluctuations. Like I've had weight fluctuations my whole life where I've been big and then I've been smaller and big and small. And so was he. And he was going through a period where he was quite big, and so was I. And I felt good because the other 2 guys in the band are skinny. And I thought, as long as there's one other fat guy in the band, I don't feel so good.
That's I understand that. I understand that.
Yeah, I thought, as long as he's big, I'm okay. It's so dumb way to think. And I mean, I was really big, and I'd be sweating at gigs. It would be like I had a bucket of water tipped over my head. And then I noticed over a period of 4 weeks, he was noticeably getting smaller. And I remember after 2 weeks going, well, you lost quite a bit of weight. And he said, and he was kind of just, he played it down. He went, yeah, I've been, working out. And then it was about the 4-week mark, I was like, okay, I actually said, what are you, I thought, are you sick? What are you, you're either doing something major or you're sick, because he'd lost so much weight in 4 weeks. And he said, and I know why he wasn't embarrassed, but he was just being a bit weird about, I think some people at his work might have, or I think he might have told some people what he was doing, and they kind of gave him a bit of, grief, like kind of teasing him about the diet, the name of it, something about just being Atkins. And he told me, he said, oh, I'm doing the Atkins. And this was on a Friday night at a gig. And I was like, wow, you look amazing. I can't believe how quick you've lost weight. Then the following week, and I remember this all really well, like the following week would have been the 5th week, he'd lost even more weight. I mean, he was pretty much back. He didn't have as much to lose as me, but he was like back to his, like,
he was with the other skinny guys in the band.
And I was like, and I was actually jealous, and I was so jealous of him. And I was looking at him, and I was like, oh, great, now it's the one fat guy in the band. And I just said that for then on that 5th week, on the Friday at the gig, I saw him. I went, okay, well, I'm going to do it. Tell me everything. And so that week I studied and looked it up and did heaps of research. Went and got books from libraries and printed stuff out and got all the facts, because I'd heard things about it not being great for you and not being that it can be kind of, there's some people say, oh, it's terrible for you and it can make you really sick. But it's kind of like, I think the old Atkins, from what I could tell, was really meat, cheese. That's all you eat is meat, and you don't have any, from what I can tell, I think they've definitely kind of, because I was eating, Atkins, I was eating more vegetables than I did before I was on it. That's for sure. I mean, every night I'll be having a salad, leafy greens, and so anyway, so I went, okay, I'm going to do this, and the following week, so that was the 6th week again, he was even smaller, and I was like, I just can't believe how quick and how much weight he'd lost so quickly. So I was like, wow, it works. So I hit it that following Monday. I started it and put together my shopping list, and I got lots of Atkins bars and sugar-free lollies, because I just, like I said, I mean, it's terrible, but I like lollies and I like bad stuff. Yeah, and so I had all this sugar-free chocolate and sugar-free lollies, and I started the Atkins, and it was, I mean, it is insane if you're lucky enough that, because like I said earlier, when you read it, it does say, so some people start slow and then it can ramp up later, but it will work. And then it said some people just are lucky enough that they'll start it and it's really quick. Yeah. And that most people are. It says most people who started will notice rapid weight loss. There's some people who don't. And I was like, oh, I hope I'm one of the people that does, because if I don't see fast results, I know I'm not going to stick to it. Yeah, and and then I remember it was about a week and a half into it, I started feeling quite sick, and I had read that you can feel achy, and you can feel a bit weird, your body can feel strange, and there's a thing called ketosis your body's going into, and I remember thinking, God, I feel terrible, and I just wanted some hot chips, and I was really grumpy. I was actually a bit grumpy, even though it's easy. I was kind of, because I found it easy, the diet, but this week and a half point, I was just getting a bit agitated, I didn't feel well, and they said it's quite normal, everything I'd read. And I remember thinking, oh, you know what? This thing's not working. I'm not losing weight. I'm not going to, I'm just going to go and get McDonald's. I'm just going to go eat something. I'm going to go have a milkshake. And I was thinking, screw this. And I thought, no, actually don't do it. Weigh yourself tomorrow morning before you go and do that. Because in the first 2 weeks in particular, they say it's very, very, very important that you don't cheat. Yes. And I think for the first month, really important when you start Atkins, in the early days, don't have a cheat day or it will not work. And so I weighed myself the next morning, and I think I was already about 2.5 kgs down, and that was about 10 days. I'd been on it 10 days.
Wow.
And I got off. Yeah, I got off and I weighed myself again, and I changed the batteries. I was like, this. And then the moment I saw that it's working, then I didn't have a cheat day for a year. I stayed on it for a year.
That's unbelievable, man. And what made you be so disciplined this time round?
Getting older. When I started it, I mean, I'm just trying to think now, because it was 3 years ago. So I was about 36, I think, when I started.
Yeah.
36, 37. I've got 2 kids, and I know that, you know, there's that thing of it gets harder to lose weight, especially once you get into your 40s. And, you know, I've always been bigger. I've had more time in my life being a bigger guy than I have being a smaller guy, even though I've had massive fluctuations. And I was just like, yeah, and then seeing how fast it was, like I said, I needed immediate results. I've done other diets, and after a month, gone, oh, you know what? You know, I weighed myself, and after a month, you know, I've lost 800 grams. You know, I'm like, you know, this is ridiculous.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
You know, so, and it's not for everyone. It's certainly not a diet if you don't like meat. That's for sure. Like, I don't.
yeah. Or bacon.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hated bacon and eggs so much. By the end of the year,
Are you serious?
I've only just started liking bacon again now. I was so sick of it. I mean, I had it just so much. I was, I was like, I've literally just this year started going, bacon and eggs sounds good. I just, I had a lot of bacon and eggs. But, and it is a crazy diet, because you kind of do think, you get to points where you're thinking, oh, this can't be, I won't lose weight tomorrow, because I'd have a massive steak for dinner with a nice green leafy salad. I'd have prawns all on the top of it. It'd be quite a big, huge dinner. But like, there's no way when I wake up tomorrow will my weight, if I weigh myself, will I be down? And I'd eat that. I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be like half a kilogram down overnight. And I'd be like, but I had half a chicken, you know, so you can eat on it.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you really can. You have a lot of cheese, and you can have a lot of dairy. Cheese. So you can have cheese. You can like fry things with butter. And we found some good recipes. Like we did these things like me and the drummer. Once we got on it, the other guys in our band, they hated being around us, because all we had our Friday. We get to our gigs and we weren't talking anything about music or anything about the band. It was, so what'd you do this week? Oh, this week I discovered this, and we were just. It was good to have someone. You know, it was good to having someone doing it with.
Yeah, definitely.
Competitive as well. You kind of get competitive. Yeah, well, I lost this week, and I lost that. You know, we'd share recipes as well. We would he'd go to McDonald's, and he found that you can ground the almonds instead of flour. He'd make his own bread, because he can have nuts.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He can have nuts, and he said he made this bread, and it was actually really yummy, and the recipe was awesome. It was super low carb, and so he started going to McDonald's, just throw away the buns, because you can pretty much eat everything.
No.
And he just put his own bread around it. I was like, really? He said, oh yeah, it's incredible. So I started doing that. I'd go to McDonald's, not all the time.
Yeah.
I'd order like a quarter pounder, because this is later on in it. This is not early days, because the sauce has a bit of sugar in it, but there's only so little on it. So I was really in the flow of it. I was like, yeah, go get a quarter pounder, because it's basically meat, cheese, and a little bit of sauce. It's just that bread. Throw that bread away, put my almond bread around it, and it was great. And it would be, you know, but I found myself doing some silly things, like I'd chew my kids' chips. If they had hot chips, I'd just and I'd spread it into a neck, you know, and swallow. I just wanted to have that.
Oh my God!
Right, you know, and I wanted to have, you know, because I really missed potatoes. You miss potatoes. Yeah. It was good finding this almond recipe, because you can make muffins out of them, and it's more about feeling like you're having bread.
Yeah, that's
right.
Know,
it was like you wanted to have something. And I missed rice, because I like rice. So there's a lot of things you can't have. But once I looked at the kind of things I could have, you know, I mean, I was having some really, really nice meals. It was hard going out to restaurants with family and that, and all you can order is a steak with an egg on top.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, like, or a piece of chicken, and they're like, "Do you want anything with it?" No. Well, you just need no sauce, just chicken, and you know,
and greens, and that's it.
Everyone's eating onion rings and eating their big meals, and you've just got this piece of chicken at the restaurant. But you know, I saw results, and you know, I'm 20 now. I'm 21 kgs lighter than when I started.
Wow.
And I've just stayed. It's just stayed off for the past 3 years. It just hasn't gone back on. And I've had some. I mean, I've had some pretty. I went to Australia for 3 weeks and I didn't diet. Didn't take any diet days there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, and I was a bit worried about it. I do think about it a bit much. My wife was always telling me, she said, look, the day your new pants, all the skinny clothes you brought, don't fit, then worry about it.
Wow, it's cool, man.
I was thinking, even now, like, oh, I'm so paranoid I'm going to put my weight on.
Wow, that's interesting, man.
Yeah, yeah, but you know, I mean, I was bullied when I was little, and I think that's hung over with me, you know, since primary school. You know, I was, you know, well, when I say bullied, I mean it wasn't like I was it was just, you know, just typical fatty, you know, and all that stuff. And so I've had kind of battle with it, you know, and then yeah, I really love that photo. It does crack me up. And so I do, you know, it's definitely, you know, and I recommend people give Atkins a go for sure. Like,
yeah.
Because it does work, especially if you want to lose it quickly. But then you just got to be careful. Like I said, I've really taken a real slow process to get myself back to a point where I'm kind of just eating not like I used to totally. I don't eat. I mean, I was pretty bad at what you know. An afternoon snack would be I'd go to McDonald's and get like a double cheeseburger combo, and that was an afternoon snack. That wasn't lunch. That's just the kind of stuff I'd eat on a regular, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Regular basis, you know, like, you know, I'd be at a point where if I had fish and chips for lunch, and then, you know, I found myself, you know, having McDonald's for dinner, and then driving home from a gig at 2 o'clock in the morning having McDonald's again, you know, things like that. And I don't do that anymore, you know. I just don't.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And do you like prepare your food and stuff like that, like for the days that you're actually on, like the 5 days on?
Yeah. I'll tell, you know, me and my wife are, you know, doing the shopping list. I will, you know, make certain things I want to have, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll say, oh, this week I'm going to have this, and I always want to, you know, what days I'm going to do my 2 days. I'm like, you know, I'm going to have it Wednesday night, just so we plan dinners and stuff, so she's not making it.
And she knows when you could be grumpy. Yeah,
and I definitely try to not, you know, I can tell I am. I can feel it in my body. There's some days I'm seething. I'm in such a bad mood, and I know exactly what it is. But other days it's easier. But you know, it like I said, it has been staying off. The weight has been staying off. So I'm just, you know, kind of happy to keep it off. I mean, the year that I was on Atkins, like, oh God, it just sounds so arrogant. It just not arrogant. It just sounds kind of vain, but it really helped as well. Like, people were just shocked at how much weight. And you know, that motivates you as well when people are noticing it.
Yeah.
Early on, I remember we went away just down south for 2 weeks, and I came back, and so that would have been I'd been on it, I think, 7 weeks at this point, and I came back to work, and people were like, you know, doing double takes when I walked in, because I stayed on it. It was early, and I just once I did it, I stayed on it like full on. Like I said, I didn't have a cheat day. I think until Christmas that year. That like Christmas Day was the first day I went, you know what, I'm going to eat whatever I want.
Wow. And did you get a sore stomach?
No, I didn't. The next day, I felt very lethargic, like super, and I remember feeling weird on the day after.
Yeah.
I remember really weird. I remember being like, but I didn't. Yeah, I was kind of, but I found I couldn't eat as much as I used to.
Yeah, no, that's right. Interesting.
I remember making a massive plate.
Start with the desserts?
Yeah. I remember making a huge plate, you know, and I got maybe a quarter through it, and I started going, bloody hell, you know. It was a time I just gone, you know, I would have just inhaled it.
Yeah,
but I got about a quarter through it. I remember thinking, God, I'm full. And then everyone's saying, well, your stomach's probably shrunk. You know, it's not.
Yeah.
You're not eating like this every night like you used to. So,
Jesus. That's
So yeah,
interesting.
so the 5 and 2, yeah. Like I said, I'm in a routine about it now, so I find it kind of easy.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's really good.
Yeah, you know. I mean, I'll
And
wake up.
did you find that routine helped out a lot when you were dieting?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Just, I mean, my wife was awesome. You know, with helping me and helping me,
Yeah,
like making sure the things I need were always around because the things you can snack on are so few and far between. Because in terms of just snacks, or
yeah,
a lot of it is such about preparing the meal and having a meal ready because there's just especially when you're out and about, you can't look. There's very few things you look around that don't have many carbs in it.
yeah. That's right, eh? Yeah, I
Like
mean, I think nowadays it's becoming more of there's becoming more things out there that we can use, like more than I think than when you went through.
yes, yeah,
Because you go to a dairy, I can't actually eat anything in a dairy, even their beef jerky. It's full of sugar.
right, yes,
You
yeah. So
know, it's
when you decided to do it, what diet did you do? Did you
oh man, I think I was like you. I'd tried everything. I'd
right,
even tried the weight loss pills that your doctor gave you.
right,
I
yeah,
can't remember what the hell they were. And basically, when you go for a shit, there's this oily substance in the toilet. It's like spaghetti bolognese. You get that orange sort of oil. It
right.
was like that, man. It was really weird.
Oh
And
god,
I went on a whole different plethora of
yeah,
different diets. And the Atkins I tried, and going keto. And when I did that, that was the fastest way that I found that I lost body fat. It just fell off.
yeah,
So same as you, I started a lot. I fell off a lot. And the one that I found that worked the fastest for me, and just like if I could see the results,
hmm,
and it's not just me, it's other people like recognizing, taking those double takes that you're talking about,
yeah, yeah.
that helps you,
It does help.
and gives you motivation to keep bloody going because it's working.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I did a keto diet for a while, and that was probably one of the best that I've actually used. And
right,
that's the one that, yes. So it's very similar to the one that I give my clients. Most of my clients that are on a fat loss are on a keto diet,
right.
and they even use keto sticks now, which is really interesting. You can get them at the chemist now, Carter, and you piss on them, and you see what degree of a keto you are.
Oh
So there's
really?
there's there's no guesswork anymore. That when you're doing it, so that if you are in ketosis or not, or if your body's using fat for energy instead of carbohydrates for energy.
Right.
So
Oh,
yeah. So all my clients are now pissing on sticks, and having a look at if they're ketosis or not.
I,
Yeah, so
I don't recall. Yeah, I didn't piss on a stick. But it's funny that you got them all doing it. Wow. Yeah. Well, your results are pretty bloody insane as well. When I see your photos, like
yeah, man.
obviously,
Well, the things that really inspired me when I was losing weight was looking at other people's journeys and seeing their success.
yeah,
That really inspired me. That kept me going. And like
mm,
you've got your band member that was losing weight too. Having others on the same journey as you,
yeah,
it freaking helps out heaps, man. To know that you can turn around and say, "I'm having a really shit day."
yeah,
And so say, oh mate, I had a shit week as well, let's get back on track, you both sort of work out with each other, how it's all going to go. And that person is there, or those people are there, and it sort of
yeah.
helps out.
Oh, I mean, we
Yeah,
call each other all the time. We're constantly talking, and it
yeah,
was,
yeah,
and there was definitely a bit of a competitive thing kicked in as well. Of
yeah, yeah,
who
that's
could
right.
eat the least amount of carbs. Like yeah,
That's right,
I had
eh?
5 grams of carbs today. Like we really got competitive with
Yes.
each other, but supportive. And I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't like I said. It's kind of sounds silly, but I got so jealous of him, and did inspire me. I was like, man, I'm really jealous of how much weight you've lost.
It's
And
really
I
cool, man. It's cool that you can actually say that,
Mm. No,
You
I knew I
know?
was. I was like, yeah, I am absolutely envious, and everyone was complimenting him, and I was jealous, and I was like looking down at myself, going, Jesus, you're only going to get. And the other thing I thought, man, you are in your late 30s now. You're probably only going to get bigger,
Yeah,
you know. And I thought, I
yeah,
just don't want to be a big. I, I mean, I just didn't want to be a big fat old man with my kids. You know, I didn't want my kids to be like, oh, my fat dad's here. You know, like
yeah,
I didn't,
man.
things like that.
100% understand that. Yeah,
Yeah, I
100%.
didn't want my kids to um, ever be ashamed of. I just thought, God, if you get much bigger, because even though I was huge, they're probably going to get to a point where they are going to be like, oh my God, look at how, you know, I don't know, or
Yeah,
if other kids said something to them about me, you know, I don't know, all these kind of things weighed on my mind, and
yeah,
and and it is hard. I mean, and it sucks, you know, and you know, because the weight came off easy, but it was a pretty hard year, even though, you know, I like eating steak and I like eating this. It still was a tough year because
yeah,
you just have to be so um, disciplined. You know, like I really
yeah.
was the most I've ever in my life, and I've tried heaps of diets. I've joined gyms. It's the longest I've ever stayed with a gym, by for sure. But I really make sure I go every day, even if I have only got half an hour instead of my normal 45 minutes already. But you know, I'm like, oh God, I've only got 20 minutes. I'll just go do 20 minutes.
Good on
Just
you, man.
like I think that's super important as well.
So consistency and diet and consistency
Yeah.
and working out. You just got to
Correct.
go. Even if it's fucking, you've only got 20 minutes, you got to do that
I
20
mean,
minutes.
my body's not quite as transformed as yours. I haven't gone to the gym that much, that's for
Yeah,
sure. But
yeah.
I'd say we look very different with our tops off. But
Yeah.
no, but yeah, no, the working out and just really sticking at it is the main thing, you know. And if you see results, it really does, you know.
Yeah, it's right.
It
But what
really.
was the hardest thing that you found when you were losing weight? Was the mental side? Was it the physical side? The food.
Once it was just missing food, missing foods that I like, you know, that would get tough. And being around, going to a party and there's a big bowl of chips and dip,
Yeah,
stuff like that. And, you know, generally, he's just, you know, if you're out at a party or at a restaurant or anything like that, it's just, no one's putting out, oh, there's the, you know, there's
yeah,
the,
that's right. Here's the
carb.
keto guy. We're gonna put
Oh,
out
yeah, yeah.
some
Oh,
some
he's the,
some selection of meats and some
yeah,
seeds
he's our
and
platter of, you know,
nuts.
and even then you do find yourself, I'd be so paranoid that I didn't want to blow a day or blow a week. Someone would go, I'd be asking all the time, what's in that?
Yeah,
And I'm
wow.
like, well, you know, and I'm like, oh, I can't have it because I don't know what's in it.
Yeah,
Someone would go, well, there's, you know, and it would, you know, but once my family and that knew, like my in-laws and my mum, if we were going to dinner there, they knew, and that was okay. But, you know, if you went to, I'd be always asking at restaurants, so what exactly is in your scrambled eggs, for instance?
wow.
It's really, you know, like, and, you know, they're like, well, we put cream. I'm like, well, how much cream? Well, you know, there's a bit of milk. How much milk? And, you know, you'd find yourself doing
Yeah,
that.
that's
I'll be honest,
right.
and I think that probably started annoying my kids and my wife more than anyone else. Like, oh my God. What's in this? So there's tomatoes, and what else exactly is in it? And so that kind of I think it was more the social aspect of it. I found the hardest of, you know, going places, going on holidays, and everyone's just, you know,
Yeah.
kids are getting a hot dog on a stick at the fun fair, and I'm
Okay.
not.
That's right, eh? Yeah, it's not.
So yeah.
And if there's five things that pissed you off, or some things that pissed you off when you were overweight, what would they be?
The things that piss me off the most.
Yeah, yeah. When you were overweight,
What?
when you were fat.
Like 2 burgers, large fries, you know, always upsizing the combo, and I'd always feel bad about it afterwards. Always, like every time. I never enjoyed it, but I still did it all the time.
So what was it? The upskilling. So we lost you there for a second.
Oh, just it was the thing that it was more myself, because I'd always be like, not. It's like I just couldn't help it. I mean, I don't think I had an eating disorder. I could not help it, and if I was, I'd look for any excuse. Like, I was just a bad eater, like something slightly went wrong. I'd think, oh well, I'll show them, and I'll go eat McDonald's. Like, it was like a dumb thing. And I mean, that sounds insane, but I really would do things like that. Something bad happened, I'd be like, oh really? Yeah, I'll go have McDonald's. Oh, I don't know why. It was only punishing myself. It just didn't, But
yeah.
That was really the heart. Yeah, I just didn't like it, and I think I just got to a point where I was so big, I thought there was no way out of it, and no way I was going to lose weight. So I just almost was almost eating on purpose, like purposely trying to get big, like purposely just eating crap and not looking at myself. And I mean, I was pretty depressed about it for a long time. I remember I was always thinking about my weight, not doing anything about it, and just feeling yuck. And I mean, I think that might be the thing that I hated the most, was just how yuck I felt all the time.
Yeah, yuck about how you felt about you.
Yeah, and how I'd always feel bad about, because I wasn't this big when I met my wife, and I would think, God, I'm lucky she's still with me. Not that she's she's shallow and she was only with me because I was so good looking, because it wasn't like like I'm so hunk and that when she got with me, but I just wasn't as big, and I got really big while we were when we've been together, and and there were points where I know she was worried about me, because I was I have these weird spells where I just almost think, you know what, if I'm not going to lose weight, I'm just going to get as big. It's that kind of dumb. It's a really it's hard to articulate what I was thinking, and say it. But it really was this almost self-hatred eating of, you know what, I'm fat, just screw it, blah, 2 Big Macs, large fries, give me everything I can,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
it's sort of like a self-sabotage at another level, really deep down. It's like, well, I'm big, and then you stop believing that you can actually lose weight. So, well, fuck it, this is me. You get resigned to being fat. So let's go. We're not all hanging on.
Absolutely. There were times when I'd just be like, oh, you know what, I'm going to, I would almost think, I'll show them. Who am I showing? I'm not showing anyone but myself.
That's it.
Yeah, it's a very, it's a weird thing, and I'm glad I did it. And and what I've got in my back pocket now is, if I do get to a point where I put on weight again and I get big and it gets out of control, I will just do Atkins again to get back down, and because I know it works for me now, and I've had a period over, like, in the past 2 years where I have been eating again. There's been periods where I've been like, okay, maybe I'll just do 2 months, and I did a couple of months just because I mainly, not for any other reason other than I just started feeling paranoid. I'm always paranoid about my weight, and I know that's a hangover from just being fat, when I was a kid, and because I see photos of myself as a teen, and I'm actually just a normal size, skinny teenage boy.
But
because I was fat in primary school, when I think of myself as a teenager, I think of myself as fat.
Yeah.
And I see these photos.
Always the fat kid.
It sucks, and that's why I just think, for anyone who's being teased or picked on at that young age about anything, it's like, God, it's gonna stay. It sticks with them, and it just sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does suck, because I see these photos of myself through my teens and into my 20s, and even then I always thought I was fat. And I see these photos, and I'm like, I don't remember being
normal. You're normal.
Yeah, I was just normal. It's not like I was super skinny, but I was normal size. I wasn't, and it's all because I was the fat kid at primary school and got called the fat kid. Well, my computer's about to die.
Yeah.
My battery.
Any final advice you can give others that that are on the weight loss journey?
Well, just to stick at it, I guess. That it can, it really does work if you stick at it, and to, basically, I didn't cheat ever. I just didn't. I stuck to it. I didn't think, what, one Snickers bar won't hurt, because it definitely would have stopped. It would have blown the whole week out. If I did it, for the Atkins anyway, if you're going to go that route, is if you stick at it. But I'm sure it's the same for most diets. Like you just stick at it, and it will work. And to get exercise, and to make it both diet, I think diet and exercise. It can't just be exercise, and it can't just be a diet. I reckon it has to be both.
Agree, 100%, Carter.
Yeah, that's what I think personally, because I know when I didn't diet and I went to the gym, like I got down from like 115. I can't remember the figure, but it was in the one. It was definitely close to 120, and I went down, like I said, to like 108, and I remember thinking, oh yeah, I'm losing weight, but I stayed there. I didn't, and that was obviously just that I'd introduced exercise into my routine, and so I did. I lost a bit of weight, but it wasn't like, and that was over a long time. And but once I introduced a diet and exercise, really, you've got to. I think it's got to be both.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Hey, Carter. Hey, thanks a lot for sharing your story, mate. This has just been awesome. Is there a place where if people have any questions and stuff like that, they can ask you? I
don't really have anything set up really, but if you want to hire a band, the satisfactions.co.nz, and you can hire us.
There we go. That's a good plug, man. Definitely.
All right, Adrian.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot for your time.